Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Real Estate Lab this week. You've got a couple realtors here. Every week we come to you from what time? 2:30? 2:30 Central Standard Time, and we talk about things that are happening in the Austin metro area. And in case you don't know, it's been a little cold this week. It's been a little cold and more so. So what we want to talk about is why this has happened in Texas, things that we can do about it. And for those of you who are listening, I just want to remind you that we are also on Spotify, Amazon, Google, Apple, and all of your favorite podcast apps. I'm Ian of Austin. Who is next?
Ladies first.
Yeah.
Crystal here, Keller Williams Realty, Northwest Market Center.
What's up, JJ Tolentino with the Next Level Property Group, also at the Keller Williams Northwest Market Center.
Love it. And I just wanted to share this sentiment from Christopher Walken here. There have been a lot of memes going around in regards to what's been going on. And it's not really a laughing matter, but you know, we always try to make light of a tough situation. I think it's healthy to try to do so as long as you're not, it's not at the expense of anyone. So why don't we start off by JJ, Crystal, tell us what has been going on in this last week? What's been happening in Texas?
Well, it's one of those situations. I know we're all tired of the unprecedented times and issues going on, but basically snow hit the great state of Texas. It sounds very simple, but one thing we also want to address here, because we're Austin real estate specialists and representing the Texas area, is Northerners think, hey, it's just snow, but
yeah,
we just didn't have the infrastructure. You got to understand how this kind of works.
Have you had that, Crystal? The it's just snow. Have you heard people say that? Like, what's the big deal?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people from the northern or eastern states and northern states are like, it's just snow, but they got to realize that we're south. We're used to heat. We're not used to 9 inches of snow.
There are a lot of things. I'm from Chicago, right? Everybody's like, well, you can handle this, right? And I don't think people understand the actual impact it had. And it's been all over the news for the last few days, but I think just digging into a lot of the things that we want to talk about, how it affects your home purchase decisions and a few other things, I think are pretty relevant. So I think I like to equate it to, if you've ever gone, have you ever gone camping in the wintertime, tent camping in the wintertime and then forgot to bring your food and you didn't have a really thick sleeping bag, yet you were there for 4 days. Like that kind of, that's the level of situation that you have to deal with. You have to deal with, no running water. People were losing power. There are still people without power and water all around here. And internet. If you don't have power, you don't have internet. Right. And I don't think people understand that these emergency services, some of them can't even get to you. I had a tree napping in my driveway because of how heavy it was from the ice. Right. And our trees aren't even made for this. And so it had rained and then it froze. And then the tree was like, yeah, I'm just going to lay down here. So I couldn't even pull out of my garage. I had to go around the tree and drive through the neighbor's yard and not run over his sprinklers.
Yeah. Like I was talking to my assistant today and she said, she's from like Northeast areas and her friends thought she should be used to it. But she said, imagine a polar bear like Antarctica and a heat wave comes through. You just aren't built for it. We're not used to having snow plows on tap and garages with snow shovels and even our clothing. I saw a funny meme that said something about, Texas aren't prepared for this because their winter gear doesn't match. And everyone's out there with like mismatched winter gear, salt trucks, snow tires, basements. And back to real estate.
That's a big one. You don't have basements here.
Basements are huge.
People don't.
Our water heaters are like in a garage.
Water heaters in the garage. Tankless water heaters are outside.
Yeah, I mean, think about a lot of that. Who thought about that?
The basement thing. I love that you brought this up, Crystal. What happened? Tell us what happened.
Thing.
No. So that's a transition. So the basement if you have a basement, generally you're going to keep that heated if you're up north. And so your piping, your water.
Oh yeah, everything, you could keep everything in a basement to,
Well, all your
piping.
piping is warmed as a result, unless the home's vacant. So Crystal, what happened to you? I don't mean to put you on blast, but
yeah, so unfortunately, I'm one of those with busted pipes in my home. And so because our home was not insulated enough, or as well as, most homes should be, I guess, wherever the weather is supposed to be super cold. Our pipes froze, it bursted, and then now it's just leaking through our walls.
And I don't think people understand, not only is that the problem that you have the burst in the pipes, you have the walls, you have to think about mold, right? Because sitting water in your walls. Now you have to think about any repair costs. Usually if there's a busted pipe and somebody has to get in there to fix it, you have floors that might have to be torn up in order to access some of these. It's a lot to consider. And I don't think everybody understands that.
Yeah. So if you're not aware, imagine a cold place having a heat wave, or a place like Hawaii having snow. Like they're even less prepared for cold weather. They might not even have heaters at all, or even like a place like LA with consistent weather where they think the AC is just opening a window. What if they have a heat wave or an extreme case? It's just your houses aren't built for this type of stuff.
It's crazy. I've had a lot of people ask me, who's the best builder? And one of the things, and I'm not going into builders, but one of the things that people should consider, and we talked about this, the level of insulation, or the type of insulation they use when they're constructing your home, whether it's in the walls, whether they use spray foam in the attic, or if they wrap it with one of those zip systems, just something. Some people have no insulation at all here.
What's your take on this? So, being in real estate, do you feel like it's just what it is, or do you feel like builders should have insulated exterior piping and added more wall installation, and windows are just too big?
I want to hear Crystal answer that one.
Me. Honestly,
your family has some building background.
Yeah,
as
that's why I wanted her to answer that.
Yeah, honestly, my dad, he actually he makes sure that we get pretty good quality insulation. Like, he makes sure there's still insulation in the homes. I feel like every home should still have some sort of insulation, but it just depends.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's not really like if you're buying a resale home, you can't choose who the builder was as easily. I mean, you can try, and it depends on the neighborhood, but it's not easy to just say, well, I only want a home built by this builder. Right now in this market, I don't know that happens very easily. Yeah. So, especially the resale market. But remember, we've got houses that are under construction. I have people that are relocating from other states, planning to come here, and their houses are half done. That is going to push us back so far. We already couldn't get brick and what do you call it? Wood, lumber. Yeah. We already couldn't get some of those materials and tile, and so now they're we're going to be set back. And then they have to dry. There's remediation process. They'll have to dry the wood that's been sitting in the snow. There are all sorts of things. Maybe treat it when they didn't have to think about that before.
I think all those pipes are busted up because sometimes they just flame with the pipes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the builder's responsibility. They still own the house, so they got to fix it. And they won't be able to go through city inspections until they do.
Speaking of inspections, okay, so now we know that the homes weren't built for this weather.
Yeah.
Right? What are things that we could do at this point? Whether you're checking up on the house, whether you've had leaks.
That's good.
What do y'all want to talk about in regards to damage control at this point?
Yeah, so I actually got an email from an inspector that I worked with in the past, and this inspector, they are called TLC inspections.
Yep.
TLC home inspections. They sent me an email saying that they've received an overwhelming request of post-storm inspections. So what they're doing now is they're charging just $199 to check water heater, static pressure test, check their water meter stability, their plumbing fixtures, and accessible attic areas. And also check your roof, and then they'll do thermal scanning.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so
that for just $199.
That's for those who have not yet purchased a home or who don't know what inspections cost. $199 is a very good price. It's less than half in most cases for a normal inspection, and they're grabbing all of the important things. I just want to call out Don for saying the apocalypse. Yeah, it was a pretty apocalyptic for some.
No apocalypse.
But I mean, the act, what kind of happened for a week? It felt like that for a lot of people. It was above 80% of people, from what I hear, from all the reports, that lost at least power or water. I was one of the fortunate few, and I'm on like a hospital grid or something. I didn't lose anything, but we turned everything down because, we don't want to be wasteful either. It's pretty interesting. So I think another thing, what were we talking about? We were talking about the inspection. So let's continue with the inspection.
Yeah, like what to do at this point. Any other vendors that you think are important to contact? Obviously, an insurance agent.
Yeah.
So when you said inspection, I wanted to call out the thermal. There are some inspectors that don't use the thermal imaging. That shows you where your leaks in your window and your airflow are.
In your walls too.
And in your walls. So that's important. It's like a heat map. If you've ever seen the movie The Predator, that's what it looks like, right? So you get to that's really big. That's really big. So what else were you saying, JJ? Insurance,
or even right now, if anything, if things are thawing out right now, looking out, we still got one freeze at this point in time. There's still a freeze Friday night, but it's the thawing that starts to, like, if the pipes burst when it's frozen, that's one thing. You still don't know it bursted. Now, when the thawing happens, this is a good time, if you start noticing anything, to start using the shutoff valves, whether it be at a water heater or there's a couple like within the house, but there's also a main shutoff valve typically on the exterior of a house.
Yeah. Ours was in the front.
Yeah, it's usually
some are in the front, some are in it. The other thing, I mean, think about this. With as much snow as we have melting right now, because we don't have this kind of snow on the ground, right? Think about your landscape and your grading of your soil. A lot of people, if they're on an incline or something, they'll never know. If it doesn't rain, they won't know if there's like pooling or flooding in their area. And now you're about to see how the water runs away from your foundation. That is huge. People don't often get to experience that. So we know in Texas, you're supposed to water your foundations. You're not supposed to flood them.
Yeah, we have a house with a slant, and another vendor I just thought of, just thinking about exterior piping, is irrigation.
Yep.
You want to see if any of that's leaking, because in my experience, you don't really know until the water bill comes in, or you might find this moisture patch in the yard that just is consistently moist. And you're just like, what's going on here? So that's something worth looking at. Insurance agents, you want to call them. And at that point, plumbers are really backed up at this point. So turn off the valves while you can. It's not laughing at her.
I know one plumber who I called yesterday whenever we were trying to take care of the leak. And he said that the soonest he could be here was Saturday.
Yeah.
So at least it's not.
That's really good. I've heard about some that are already 3-4 weeks booked.
Yeah. And this is stands, AC, and plumbing.
Yeah. This is really good information. Think about this. If it were to happen, if anything were to happen again, this is a reason for you to have that list of resources, the emergency resources available. And not just one person, but like 3 people. So you should have 3 plumbers, 3 insurance people, 3 this, because if you need help right now, who's going to be available? That plumber that you thought you knew might be in the same situation where they're working on their pipes or overbooked. And if you don't have internet, it's not like you'd hop on Yelp.
Yeah. And in terms of insurance, like if you do have home insurance, call up your insurance company and see what your deductible is, because you could save a lot of money. And then also for those who have just bought their new home construction, they should, if you have a bursted pipe, the builder covers that. You should call up
still under warranty.
Okay, our pipe burst, come fix it.
Then, that same thing might apply to resale warranties in the first year. If you purchased a resale and the seller paid for a home warranty. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine
home warranty too.
Yeah.
I think home warranty is worth looking into. So check your home warranty specialist.
One of the things you mentioned earlier, JJ, when we were talking offline is you said, how are tenants and landlords handling this? So like, let's say somebody's in the middle of buying an investment property and there's a tenant in the property. Like right now, whose responsibility? That's such a big deal that
it is a big deal. From without like, again, nobody here, at least to my knowledge, has a law degree, but
right, absolutely,
the landlord's in charge of, from what I generally saw, like handling that valve. But even to get to the legal stuff, there's a couple websites or a couple resources I would check for you to check out, even if you are a tenant, because you also want to know your tenant's rights.
Absolutely.
And a landlord, because there's going to be two sides to this coin. Check out housing-rights.org.
And just kind of an FYI, we're going to post all these links at the bottom of the video in the description, just so everything that we talk about, you'll have a solid place to go find them. Sorry.
Yeah, so you'll see the Austin Tenants and Landlord Council fair housing laws there. And another Texas guide is on you're going to have to look into it, but it's in the real estate center at the Texas A&M Business School. So they have attorneys at law that wrote up a landlord and tenants guide as well to see who's responsible for what and whatever just happened.
Yeah. And then, I mean, that's another thing to consider when you're purchasing. Let's say it's an investment, right? You also have to consider, are you forcing your tenants to have rental insurance? Rental insurance. Thank you. Yeah. Rental insurance, right? People ask like, well, why can't I Airbnb? Well, do you have rental insurance on the people that are on the property as if it were a short term? Like, these are things that people don't think about until right now, until an emergency situation.
I always advocate for renters insurance. It is an option, whether you're a landlord or even a tenant. Sometimes you go into a place and if they don't require it.
Well, and you have a lot of people that self-manage. This is how you get into trouble, y'all. It's important. Yeah. It's important. And it's valuable to understand what's going on and to be prepared if possible. And I'm not saying we're getting off topic. We're still relevant to the emergency services. But speaking of emergencies, I mean, another factor here: delivery trucks weren't able to make it to our grocery stores.
Yeah, this is a good a segue into resources for like food and water. Yes. I have a couple here. So I think Round Rock was pretty good in regards to water, from what I've heard.
Yep.
So at Idea Tech in Round Rock, they do have opportunities for free drinking water. I could see it here. I know this could get replayed, but even Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4, they're going to have free drinking water. And look into Idea Round Rock Tech. They're going to have free food. I also see that the Cedar Park Water Distribution Center at the rec center over there off of Main Street will also have some water distribution. And City Hall will also have a water filling station.
That's good.
Yeah. Austin Culture Map has some free food too for restaurants.
I love Austin Culture Map. Crystal, you had one too, right?
Yeah. So there's an Instagram account called When We're What Austin, and they have on their bio, they have the link to the Google Doc that is accessible by anyone who, has the link, and then they can input, if you know a place, just input it in the spreadsheet, and there's like tons of places that people have been putting on here, like restaurants that have free food, what day for how long, who has water, who has milk, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who has gas.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like, even the people that have, these Jeeps with the giant wheels or these big diesel trucks and all that sort of stuff? That's wonderful if it starts, right? That's wonderful. But if they, we had to have runners to get to some of these places. And if you have a runner that gets to a store and there's nothing at the store for the people, then, this is the thing that in the outside world, people aren't really seeing. And not even that, ice. I don't think people realize that what happened is we actually had layers of ice. It wasn't just that we had a lot of snow.
Yeah. Curious,
Right?
in Chicago, does everybody have like a 4-wheel drive car, or that's still not necessarily the case?
I never had a rear wheel drive vehicle after I learned what snow does. First off, yeah. So I always
People
had
have
either
that.
all-wheel,
Okay.
four-wheel, or
Yeah.
front wheel. So, but here you got people with Camaros and Mustangs and rear-wheel
Yeah.
drive vehicles and Corvettes that have never had to deal with this, and they're low to the ground. You know,
So they don't do that in Chicago, or they do, but they just don't drive it.
just take it out in the summer. You know,
Okay.
that's all
Just
they can do.
curious how that works.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
I rode, I could ride my motorcycle 4 months, and then after that, that was it. I didn't get any more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so what do you think about moving forward? Like, is there anything preventative at this point in time? Like, is climate change legitimately gonna keep changing? What do y'all think in regards to that?
So one thing that I think is a good resource for people is understanding how Austin electricity works, Austin area electricity. So we have Pedernales in the Northwest region. We have Encore in like most other suburban areas, northern suburban areas. And then Austin Energy controls Austin proper. Okay. Each one of those websites has an outages map available. So I would say if there are historical outages, that's what you need to study when you're buying your next house or when you're looking at where you're going to live. And just, I mean, obviously this is going to change. They're probably going to beef it up. But from what I understand, and help me if I'm wrong here, what happened is a lot of the wind turbines had frozen, and that's what caused the energy grids to shut down. That's what
Supposedly.
it sounds like. Yeah, right. We don't know. We're not there. It just I know. It's just but it's good to think forward now. Take
Right.
this historical information and be ready. So if you're moving here, don't get rid of all of your winter clothes. Keep at least one solid outfit. Right?
This reminds me, because I'm not that in tune with like power grids and energy, but when I was in college, we were pitched by these sales organizations, right? And I've always paid attention to sales. I always knew it was a thing. And I won't say the company, but basically the pitch was, hey, Texas is the only state that has deregulated electrical companies. So go sell these electrical companies because they're just not regulated. I didn't really know what it meant, but coming this far into the game, basically what Ian's saying is if you get plugged in to a certain utility company, do a little bit more research so you understand how they're plugged into the grid.
Yeah, I think ultimately that
I think also some homes have like solar panels that have an external battery or something like that.
Y'all know I'm a Tesla fanboy. Tesla has solar panels, solar roofs, and then they have something called a power wall. That's the key. You can have solar. It doesn't matter if your house is covered with snow. Doesn't do a thing. But if you have a power wall, like you were saying, Crystal, it sits on your wall. It's a battery backup. Like on your phone, big battery.
Wait, the car has a backup battery?
The car does too, but not the car. The
company makes these things.
Makes those things. So the same batteries that are in the car, they have one that you can put on your house, kind of like a generator or like a.
Speaking of which, that's the key. I think moving forward, basically backup energy.
Generator, yes.
Yeah, generators.
This is like a generator. If your power goes out, you don't have to go find gas.
Which we also experience. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say a generator, generally those run off of gas, right? And so if you have 7-month-old gas sitting in your garage
like that, yeah.
Is that going to work? It'd probably work. It'd probably be a little muddy, but it's fine. But if you have
so moving forward with real estate, is that like, how are you going to perceive housing now? Are you going to call somebody out on their exposed water piping and, it's not insulated?
I think the thing is we already do. But what they might do is update the building codes. I think that's going to come now. So when you have houses built in 2022 and 2023, a
couple more pages in the inspection report. Yeah.
Yeah. Inspection reports and builders codes, that needs to happen. That needs to happen to prepare. Redundancy. So if your power fails, what grid are you on? How are they handling that? I think.
Do you think there's going to be a spike in generators, or people are back to this isn't going to happen again? We
Oh
don't
no,
have to
I have so many things that are in my Amazon wish list ready to go.
No, yeah, because I was going to say that we experience power outages even like when we have like super hot weather and also like thunderstorms. So it's definitely something that you want to invest in.
Yeah.
Just for winter.
Yeah, I think it's good. What else?
I've even seen what's that?
So I remember reading this thing saying if you like little things. So we filled our bathtub with water in case we lost water. So we bleached it, of course, cleaned it, and then filled it with water, and then held it. It's actually still sitting there full of water in case we needed to flush the toilets. You can even flush the toilets. I don't think people realize how bad it could be if you lose that kind of stuff.
I've seen businesses that have like built-in boiling, bleaching systems.
Boiling. That's another thing. If you don't have
water filtration system, basically.
Water filtration. Yes.
Ooh, yeah, I
life
know.
straw. You ever heard of a life straw?
No. So do you think these are going to be like how standard do you think this is going to change the game? Or do you think it's just 20% of people are going to get them and everyone
I think this was a fluke. I think a lot of people are going to forget by next year, unfortunately. They're not going to think about this, but it's kind of our job to think about it for them. Right?
Yeah.
It's our job to understand what historical experiences people have had, especially if they're relocating and they're not familiar with the area. That's already been our job. Now we have more to add to our list.
Yeah. We're not insurance agents. That's what the insurance agent is there for. But I know in my experience, I'll talk to them and say, hey, because this is slanted, the lot, in my experience, I've seen a little bit different settlement on slanted lots. And
Settlement's a big topic here. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially on the east side of town, things like that. Right. So I think moving forward, maybe we just talk about these things a little bit more openly, like, hey, they do have solar panels. They don't have this. And in the end, it's you as the buyer usually, or whoever the decision maker is, or, what you choose to do. So I think we're going to be loaded up with a little bit more. Yeah. The inspector pointed out that insulation. It's up to you on how you want to move forward with that particular wall installation or piping installation or piping insulation. Anything else you see moving forward with the new environment we're in, or current environment?
I'm a big fan of having a deep freezer. I think that's a underrated tool, right? Because imagine if you have your regular refrigerator, but if power goes out, that's a problem. At least your deep freezer, you can go toss snow in there and you'll have meat or whatever you eat for quite a long time.
Because of the way it's shaped, and you get to put stuff in it.
It's a giant cooler at that point. Like you can throw some more ice and some stuff, keep it closed, and it's in your garage. It's already cold outside. You're fine. Shoot, you could probably just throw the meat outside at that point. Yeah. See, that's what I mean. And people, you can't drink the snow, or you shouldn't be. You should be boiling it, right? But at this point, you can't even drink tap water in a lot of our places here. Right, you have to boil it. So, what can you do to boil? Camping stoves.
Mm-hmm.
Camping stoves are huge, right? As long as you have propane. So, I believe that it's really incredibly necessary to have a heater that runs on propane, or a camping stove or something like that, so that in the future, if the power goes out or anything goes out, you're not you're not freezing. I think it's a little thing. It doesn't cost anything for propane.
True. How much time we got? We're about out here.
We're about out, but keep talking. I'm going to show you one more thing.
Yeah. Trying to see where I stand on getting propane tanks and all that. Are you going to prepare a lot, Crystal, for another energy shutdown?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think we're ready. We've had a generator. So we're pretty lucky that, we have some of those that we already had. What is that?
This is a battery, but it has regular outlets. It has USB ports, and it has a like a cigarette lighter adapter, and it's just carried around. So I bring it for camping, and I can charge everything with it. Everything I have, every device I have. And then this is another one that I keep carrying around. It plugs into the wall, so I always keep it plugged into the wall so it has juice. But then here's the key. USB-C, iPhone, and then older Android phones. So I have so many of these things. I've always had so many of these things because, you know, we can't even open houses without power on our phones these days. So it's just, those are little things that don't cost a lot that will tremendously help your situation. I mean, people were losing phones. Their phones were dying and they didn't know what to do.
Right.
I don't want that to
any
happen.
other final thoughts for the viewers today on snowpocalypse?
I'm so passionate about this.
Dude, you're the tech dude. You got all the tech energy.
I'm such a nerd.
Final thoughts?
Oh my gosh!
Liberty.
Hey, Liberty.
Yeah.
We
We were just wrapping up on final thoughts on snowpocalypse.
I was listening. Sounds like you guys were doing great. What's up?
You wanna give your final thoughts?
While you were, because you live in the heart of Austin. What's been going on there?
You know, I mean, things are thawing out. Things are looking up. I was able to finally get out and make a snowman. It was great.
That's the bright side. That is the bright side. Lots of people doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, snowpocalypse 2021. What's next?
Well, yes, right. What did you lose power, water, or anything like that?
I didn't have water for a tad bit, but once temperatures rose a little bit, I was able to get some water. So yeah, I mean, it was just crazy town. But luckily, you know, we had food stores and electricity. And my fish tank had a heater. Nice. So we're all good.
I've read that some fishes have died.
I've heard a lot about dying fish and birds.
And my chickens, like I was worried about them, but they're good. So
yeah.
Final thoughts, y'all? One round.
I want to ask Liberty specifically as a mom, how did the kids handle it? I think this is important.
I mean, day one was great. It was fun. We were out playing. It was awesome. You know, day 5, it was tricky. Like we were all losing it. We were all losing it.
Yeah.
And you know, they don't have milk. Like there's no milk for them, you know, and that's really sad anywhere.
I want to keep #prepared.
I was thinking, like, we're podcasting with the right guy here.
I'm actually going next week, or not next month. I thought it was next week, but next month. It's crazy. I'm ready. I'm out. I've been cooped up too long, and I get my first shot tomorrow, so I'm excited for that.
Sweet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I made it. All right. Well, we're at time. Do you guys have time, or do you have to get going?
I was ready for final thoughts just to wrap it up.
Final thoughts. So I think JJ, what's your final thought?
I say just make that decision moving forward. I mean, one, you know, I just feel so bad for people that don't have as much power as others, people that don't have as much shelter, enough water. Again, replay the podcast for the resources. Moving forward, you know, it's really on you how much you want to prep. That's your decision. I'm not going to say, you know, get a bunch of generators and a bunch of batteries.
Not everybody could. Not everybody was in that position.
Yeah, not everybody can, and just be cognizant. Like, okay, you know, this could happen. This maybe I'll just go to friends. Like, kind of understand what you're getting into as you're moving forward with these real estate decisions. And if you need anything else from us, we're going to be as resourceful as possible.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I would say just listen to, you know, the warning signs from the news, because they were talking about it Thursday and Friday, but I was just kind of like, sure, yeah, you know, and I didn't take it seriously. I wish I would have stocked up on food to last us a week and stuff like that.
Yeah. And to add on, I just want to say my condolences to the families around Texas that, you know, were affected a lot more than other people, and those who are still affected today. I hope, you know, you guys get power. Report your outage, because some some areas are just kind of wacky
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like not getting the power that they should be getting.
Yeah.
So
I noticed this one guy. What he did is he apparently lost everything from a fire or something like that, and he created an Amazon wish list, and he shared it in a public group, and it was things like baby wipes and diapers and some like shirts for his kids and stuff like that, and he posted that in the group. Everybody, even I was like, I'm buying something off this list. Everybody bought, and you can see if someone bought something off the list, so you know that you're not like overbuying something. Obviously, diapers you can't overbuy, but just that was such a quick, easy thing for him to do, to ask for help, that everyone was able to jump on and help him with. And I think if you have the means to do something like that people really do want to help. We Texas has always been that's kind of a Texas pride thing. Everybody's there for each other, or has been there for each other, despite what you see in the news and everything. I think it's important to know that we're all in this together. And if you can try to get that information out there, people are there to help you. People are there. So Thank you everybody for watching our podcast today. See you next week. Sorry to leave on kind of a somber note, but things are looking up. Everybody here is smiling, and let's take care of the families that still need help. Everyone have a good one. Bye.
Bye, y'all.